Breaking the book with hip help. What the hell do we mean with hip help? Hip stretches, hip exercises, not what you thought. This is for avid lifters or people who really are just getting into lifting. You look up YouTube videos, you see proper form on all these different exercises. You're sitting there doing rows, stuck up like this, just pulling it and pulling it. You know, you can get a lot more out of every set in the gym or at home without hurting yourself, right? Because people have said to us, at least to me, you know, here at When Wellness, dude, I watched your video and you're doing like bent over rows. What's up with the form? Or what's up with the... Is it classical perfect form? No, but guess what? I'm in full control of the weight and I'm able to move a lot more weight with speed and with some slight help from my hips. Really some major help from your hips. By breaking the rules a little bit without, again, sacrificing form for a rep to the point where the weight is controlling you. You never let it control you. You just put it down, you live to fight another set. You never squirm around and change your form in that regard, where now you're using one side of your body more, pushing up on the bench. You drop the weight, you live to fight another set. You're doing dips, you start to do this, you go down, you live to fight another set. But if you want to get the most out of it, something you can't learn online, something you only learn after 22 years of lifting, is this principle of utilizing more than just that classical strict form to get the most out of a set. And let's talk about the principle of generating power from the hips first and foremost, right? So we kind of understand where all this comes from. So if you were going to punch, right, whether you box or not, I'm no expert fighter, right, by any means. Do a little bit of Wing Chun, but that's it. Shout out to Wing Chun Society in Iowa. You know, Sifu, this one's for you, we'll say. You don't sit there and go like this, right? So two things, right? You're gonna punch like this, or you're gonna get closer to your body. You seem to have more power. Now, even if you're close to your body and your body's behind it and you have power, how do you have the most? It's all in the hips, not even moving the arm. Hips. You're a goalie in soccer. I was a goalie for a long time. You kick a goal kick. You go up and you kick it like this, or you get the hips. It's all that motion. MMA, if you're kicking, you open the hips first, boom, hips fly through. You don't sit there and just, right? So let's apply that concept with full control to lifting. Let's give you a couple of examples. And this majorly goes for extremity movements, all right? So I don't want you to think if you're laying under weight, if you're underweight on a bench, if you're underweight on a squat rack, that is not the time to do this, okay? What we will apply is the principle of speed more so there, and we'll talk about that in a second to improve those lifts. But say you're doing, a bicep curl, right? So what's a big no with a bicep curl? Well, a big no is that we're going to go like this, right? We're never going to do that, right? Now we got to use our whole body, our low back's being compromised to do it. So, you know, a good form curl is like this, right? Your arms go all the way straight. You're going like this, but eventually you fail, right? Eventually you fail. So now you can use a little, but look. Now what I'm doing with my toes here, if you can't see them, I'm kind of bouncing quick. Boom, generating some force through the hips to help me. And if you time it right, it'll help it come up. Now you can always just help it get up there and go down slow on the way down. But look, my back isn't moving like this. It's stable, right, as I'm doing it. And that's really important because, you know, you don't let it, again, move your body when you're lifting weight. And, you know, you don't let it change the position you're supposed to be in when you're doing the exercise. You just generate more force within that position, if that can kind of make sense to you guys. So if you're doing a lateral raise, right, you know, you're here, right, you're here, right, this will, you know, whatever. You're there, okay? You can be to the front, you can be whatever. Side, okay? My body's not moving at all. If I failed like that, give it a little boop, boop, boop. That's fine because my body is not being compromised. This is strong. This is all strong the whole time. And you know what? When you fail like this, or like this, however you want to do it, you're going to be, or straight out, you're going to be getting way less reps than if you continue this set and you use a little hips. Use a little hips. But you have to really know what you're doing, and you have to not get greedy, right? So I wouldn't get greedy to the point where I'm using them and, start to bend. No, because what? It took away my good posture. It took away my core and my low back, right? They should be strong and tight the whole time. So that's a common denominator too with all these things. Maintain a strong, tight core and the low back. Don't let it be mush moving around. Really strong base, that's essential. So there's a couple examples there. Same thing you go for a shoulder press, right? You're doing a shoulder press, you fail here, and then right? You're generating force again from the hips, but not sacrificing the form, right, in that regard. And you won't find this anywhere online. This is something you don't learn by reading a book. This is something you learn by exercising for a long time. Also, you have to know your body, know what your limits are. Don't try this with really crazy heavy weight, and you're going to go hurt yourself, because then you're more likely to try to do that and it ends up going wrong. So you got to be careful. Second principle here, we just talked about when you're doing big compound lifts, things like squat and bench and deadlifts and whatever, you can apply speed, okay? And speed where? On the way down, on the way up, or both? Really both, okay? But you don't do this until you're warmed up. So you don't go into the first set, if you're benching, you don't go into the first set going, wha-boom! No, right? Maybe if you're going to start off heavy and you're not going to waste it on the warm-up, and you're not doing a pyramid, which I personally like, and I train people this way, we do a warm-up without weight where you go slow, then you get faster, wa-boom, wa-boom, wa-boom. If you could do that, you're going to be fine, right? But even still, to be extra safe, the first set that we're going heavy, which might be like the second set, maybe we'll do like 1 rep of something lighter, get them warmed up even more. Then we go, and we're doing what's pretty much their top set here. They don't come down real quick. Even though for performance, if your life depended on it, you would want a lot of speed on the way down and then on the way up. Less time under tension for performance. More time under tension if you're purely looking just for hypertrophy, right? But it has to be with at least 60% of your 1 rep max. I say like 80 plus, all right? To really see growth. But when you start, right? So that first heavy set, you're coming down, nice control, slow. Go up, getting the elbows, the shoulders nice and warm, chest nice and warm. Then, say that second set. I always say, the second set really is the best set. Because now I'm fully warmed up and I can get aggressive in terms of the form without sacrificing it to where I'm going to get hurt. So what the second set looks like is that weight's come, I unrack it. This time, look, the momentum from here to here carried over. Right? It's like wha-boom, wha-boom. It's like cocking first and then punching. Right? And that's not necessarily the best form if you're trying to, get as many punches in as possible. For power, you're damn right it is, right? Cocking and using the hips would be, ultimate, right? So you apply that same principle to the lifts. And you're coming down on a squat. Once those knees are warm, once those hips are warm and everything, you don't have to come down super slow. You can come down with a little more speed and then get to the top quicker. And if you take longer to get down, you go slow on the way down. That could be good at the end of the workout, but if you do that in the beginning, you're going to tire yourself out to the point where your performance will be sacrificed. And guess what? To me, the most important thing, if you're looking to improve your strength and your performance and really your density of your musculature, your neuromuscular connection, how your brain and spinal cord communicate through nerves with your muscles to tell them that they can lift certain amounts of weight, it's going to be that you're doing a lot of reps with heavy weight for the day. The total number of reps that you did with heavy weight. So if I went right in there and I said, I'll do my drop set right away, and I'm starting on bench and it's 315, whatever, and I dropped right away, then to 275, then to 225, now the next set, I'm done, right? If I did a 10 subset drop set, I'm cooked. And that's good for stamina or cardio, and it's different. Some days maybe you'll do that, but if you're looking to really boost your strength and performance, you're better off doing that powerful set and then resting a few minutes, and the extra minute that you rested was worth getting 5 instead of 2 with that weight. So now we tacked on another 3 reps with that weight for our total for the day of reps with heavy weight. I am telling you right now, it will make a tremendous difference in your workout, in your size, in your strength, really your strength and performance first and foremost, and how you feel progressing in your fitness journey if you follow the principle of utilizing your hips when you can, right? And you can get away with it. Look at a cable row, right? For example, when you're, instead of sitting up tall like this, you can do that at the end when it's light. But look, if I could do this with 200, or I could do wadoom with 300, right? I'd rather wadoom with 300. I mean, I'm moving much heavier weight. My body has to respond to that, right? That mechanical stress is going to force my muscles to get stronger. It's going to force them to recruit more motor units, have more nerves connecting to the muscle fibers to control their contraction, have greater contraction to increase the number of acetylcholine receptors. We know that as the learning neurotransmitter or brain chemical, but it's also involved in muscle contraction and a myriad of other functions in the body. But you have more of those receptors when you lift heavy weight over time. We talked about that study with all those elderly people that they worked out and they did heavy sets, right? They worked out 6 to 12 reps versus 10 to 18 reps. The group that did 6 to 12 years later, they still had their strength. The other group didn't. Why? It was the mind-muscle connection. It was literally changing the nervous system connection with their muscles and the amount of acetylcholine receptors that could bind to that chemical that's making them contract, right? And they're recruiting more of that muscle in terms of the amount of nerves that are attaching to it in simple, right? More motor units. So remember the hips. Remember the speed after you're a little bit warmed up, right? And, remember really that you want to do a lot of reps with the heaviest weight for the day if that is your goal. And even if you're a girl and you're trying to grow your butt, that's still really important. Women that I train, I also incorporate that. If somebody's 65 and I start training, do I throw them under really heavy weight right away? Of course not, right? We get the form down, we get the form down, we get the form down. We get them to understand how their body can move, what they can get away with. We press the envelope, but we don't go close to sacrificing form to where they could get hurt. And then we start to incorporate that heavier weight and that speed, So that's what we got for you guys. I hope it's helpful to you in your fitness journey. Who do we got on here? Say what's up to the homies. We're going to rock and roll. Paul, what's up, young stud? How you doing, baby? Good to see you out here, man. Thanks for the love. Eric Chris, that pole dancer, love it. Shower Vander Woodson, done the PhD. Good to see you on here. David Ed, Bub, Gorilla, appreciate you, brother. My man. Sevilla, what's up, Fred? How you doing? And Muscletography, I like your name. As for now, before we trip on this dumbbell, so we got for you, folks. We'll see you tomorrow, baby. Not sure where, not sure when, but we'll see you then. Have an amazing rest of your night. Thank you very much. Happy Friday and happy One Wellness. It was a great day at the practice. We treated a bunch of people, helped a lot of people move better, feel better. I couldn't be happier about it. It's going to be a great week next week. It's going to be a great week tomorrow. You guys have an awesome night. See ya.